Choi, feeling a bit playful, let them attack him one by one. He knew he would win, but he also understood their desire to fight. Monsters line up to fight him, and the waiting line is long as hell. The demons are surprisingly docile, as Choi promises to fight them all as long as they do not make a commotion. Sigh, these muscleheads. One such day, when he is thinking about how he has gotten quite close with the demons too, he examines the hunter card given to him by the association long ago. The card, enchanted with magic, displays his current stats, and he marvels at the transformation. Once a mere C+ rank, he now possesses abilities far beyond anything he could have imagined. His rank has not changed, but his skills have evolved. A divine celestial technique, complete poison immunity, body and fist mastery, full counter mastery, invulnerable body, and the legendary 3 flowers convergence. He has achieved the state of heavenly perfection, a resonance with the world itself, granting him an insight that transcends all others. It is this final skill, the resonance from the world, that intrigues him most. It is an ability he has never heard of. His stats have grown incomprehensibly high, and every skill he possesses has ascended beyond anything he'd once imagined. His list of abilities stretches on, each one shining with a rank mastery. But convergence of 3 flowers, now that was something even more profound, more mystical. This technique, rarely seen on Earth, was a martial ability hunters only spoke of in legend. The convergence of 3 flowers marked the pinnacle of Kai cultivation. Hunters used it when their powers were honed to absolute purity, when the quality of their inner strength was refined to an immaculate state. Should this purity falter, the skill would weaken. Yet, if nurtured, if cultivated with dedication, it could elevate a warrior to mythical status, a pinnacle where 3 flowers of Kai, vitality, and spirit bloom as one. Choi remembers tales of great martial artists who'd achieved such a level. Those individuals were known to have mastered unique A-rank techniques like Violet Dawn Divine Technique or the legendary Divine Tai Chi Technique. To reach this pinnacle was to touch the heights of martial skill, yet Choi never intended to seek such perfection. He had wandered through the abyss, his time stretching into an eternity, cultivating a pure form of inner strength without ever realizing its impact. Unknown to him, his body has now become the embodiment of a heavenly martial body, an ideal physique where his affinity for Kai reaches unimaginable depths. While this is often considered an innate gift, a rarity among the rare, Choi now understands that his body has been refined through sheer will, not merely bestowed by fate. Far away, the goddess of balance seethes in her realm, her gaze unable to locate him. She has lost track of Choi in the ever-shifting layers of the abyss, his existence hidden from her omniscience. Choi, however, remains oblivious to her frustration, his focus solely on his own path. His skills have evolved beyond mortal comprehension, and he's now attained what he deems the state of perfection. This level is born of relentless training and countless battles, a state that allows him to observe martial techniques once and master them instantly. Skills that took lifetimes to perfect are his to wield in mere moments, as a mage summons spells. And yet, resonance from the world eludes his understanding. It has no rank, no discernible origin, and no defined limit. Resonance from the universe, as he calls it, feels like a part of something vaster, as though he is approaching a peak of existence. This strange ability implies an alignment with the universe itself, a connection that suggests he is transcending mere humanity. Unaware of the impending consequences, Choi finds himself on the verge of becoming the first human constellation. Choi finished cooking soup and looked at his hunter card. Soon, the Demon Inn was filled with wounded monsters. They were amazed by Choi's strength and respected him. Choi served them food with kindness, not as a conqueror, but as a cook. Yet he told the losers to try his experimental food before leaving. They enjoy the taste of his cooking but vow to grow stronger, determined to face him again. For years, Choi has experimented with recipes, refining his skills as a chef regularly. Although one of the losers is happy that his experimental dish turned out good, another spits it out saying not even a pig would eat it. Obviously, he cannot succeed every time. Just then, a demon throws the food on the ground, complaining that he is there to fight and not eat. But the demon does not even realize what has happened before Choi's warmth extends for a punch from far away and completely obliterates the demon's upper body, killing on the spot. The dumb demon should have just told him if he did not want food. Why did he have to throw and waste it? Thus, the time inside the Demon Inn continues with playful bickering and lots of food. As time passes, he earns a new skill, Abyss Low-Grade Cooking, a C-rank ability. Yet, in contrast, his inner strength feels stifled, blocked by the limitations of his current state. His Dantian, the core of his power, has reached its peak capacity, leaving him unable to increase his strength further. Reflecting on this, he realizes that no one remains stronger than him within the confines of his world. The once insurmountable heights he sought to conquer now seem within his grasp, but this creates an unexpected challenge. With no higher reference to guide him, he faces the daunting task of breaking through this barrier alone. He needs a formidable opponent, someone who can push him beyond his limits. But in this place, he has found only monsters who either fear him or revere him as an unbeatable force. A knock echoes through the inn, interrupting his thoughts. A demon enters, and Choi welcomes him, informing him of the news of high-quality meat brought in that day. Yet, as he turns, the monstrous figure standing at the threshold is unfamiliar. This creature exudes a power that is incomparable to those Choi has encountered before, its aura radiating an intense, almost infinite magic. Choi knew this meeting would be important. The creature's power was immense, even greater than Choi's. This would be a new challenge, a chance to grow stronger. This stranger could be the adversary he has sought. Choi offers meet Donburi without the rice to the stranger today. Choi, observing from behind the counter, notices immediately the vast aura that engulfs the beast. It is clear that this creature is not only powerful, but possibly even stronger than him. As the monster finishes its meal, it casually produces a massive ingot of adamantium, a precious metal Choi has only heard of in legends. Its size alone is a marvel, far larger than anything Choi has ever seen, and for a moment, he's taken aback by the sight. Curiosity piqued, Choi offers the monster another bowl, sensing that this being might be more than he initially assumed. Yet, the creature declines. Suddenly the demon asks Choi if he is human, to which he responds in the affirmative. The demon bows lightly, introducing itself as Varigos, the first family member of the Dominator of Blood and War. With a prideful bearing, Varigos announces that he is a harbinger, one tasked with spreading his master's will, and has come to deliver an invitation for Choi to join their ranks. Varigos speaks of his master with reverence, detailing the significance of being part of the Dominator's family, and conveys how this would elevate Choi in the cosmic hierarchy, allowing him access to unparalleled power and influence. Varigos assumes Choi would be honored, even overjoyed, to accept such an offer. After all, no matter the distances or the world one comes from, a direct invitation from a constellation, a celestial being of nearly limitless power, is a rarity. Refusal, he believes, is unthinkable. Yet, to Varigos's astonishment, Choi declines the proposal with an air of calm resolve. This unexpected rejection rouses a dangerous fury in Varigos, whose pride is shaken by such blatant defiance. The air thickens as his anger manifests, a surge of pressure flooding the inn and challenging Choi. But Choi, undeterred, faces Varigos head-on. He recognizes this confrontation as a long-awaited opportunity, a truly worthy opponent, capable of pushing him further toward his ambitions of strength. In the tense silence, Varigos insists that Choi's potential is precisely what his master seeks, that the Dominator of Blood and War thrives on followers who embrace battle and adversity. Yet, he cannot fathom why Choi would refuse. Choi, in response, mentions a prior commitment, a promise made to another constellation, one he is unwilling to break. Varigos grows curious and presses for details, sensing no trace of constellation energy around Choi. Choi admits that although he has not yet joined any family, he awaits a place promised by a constellation with the power to foresee the future, one who has assured him that his path lies with her. Varigos laughed at Choi, calling him a liar. He explained that powerful beings quickly claim mortals with potential, either through contracts or by taking them to their own worlds. Varigos was sure that if Choi was truly special, he would have been taken away already. He could not believe that Choi was still free. Choi refused to believe Varigos. He was confident that his constellation had a plan for him. He told Varigos about his long journey and the many challenges he had faced. Varigos was more confused than skeptical. He said that if Choi was truly special, he would have been taken away by his constellation long ago. Further, if there was really a constellation capable of controlling mana storms as Choi suggested, then they would have already conquered the abyss. He asks if Choi is sure that he simply did not just get caught up and transported there in the magic storm. Before he can speak further, Choi releases a fierce and angry aura, shutting his mouth. Choi began to doubt himself. Maybe his journey was not planned after all. Maybe it was just a terrible accident. But he had never stopped to doubt it for an instant amidst the excitement of growing stronger. He felt sad and tearful as he exited the inn, thinking he should have questioned this long back. But he held back his tears, knowing that even a single tear could weaken him. Choi made up his mind to return to Earth as he had already wasted a lot of years. But Varigos blocked his path. The receiver of the Axe of Blood, Varigos, finally revealed his true form. He would not let Choi escape his master, the Dominator of Blood and War. Varigos was very powerful, and he was ready to fight Choi. He said that even if Choi died, the Dominator would bring him back to life again and again. As they clash, Varigos notices something unusual about Choi's movements. Despite the lack of any visible magic aura, Choi moves with a speed and agility that defy logic, almost as though he's moving faster than the eye can track. Intrigued, Varigos realizes that this must be a result of the celestial footwork technique, a rare skill that infuses physical prowess with divine power, allowing Choi to maneuver in ways that seem impossible for a mere mortal. The sight stirs Varigos's warrior spirit, and he intensifies his attacks, drawing upon his blood baptism technique, an ability that bypasses the need for traditional mana and taps directly into his own vitality and rage. a rain of corrosive liquid that looks like blood. Yet, Choi's invulnerable body technique shields him from the worst of Varagos's attack, but it still will not be enough to put up with the enemy's skill for a long time. Meanwhile, the demon taunts him to finish up soon as his master, the dominator of blood and war, awaits them. The air trembles under the oppressive weight of the dark red mana pouring down like an acidic torrent, burning, melting, annihilating anything unfortunate enough to encounter it. This ability is a terrifying show of Varagos's overwhelming magic, a force that transcends human understanding, far beyond the capabilities of any mortal magician. Choi's body swells with power. His heightened senses and mastery over the heavenly martial body technique allow him to conserve inner strength with perfect precision. Through three-flower convergence, his every move is sharpened. For Choi, this is unlike any danger he has ever faced. In the face of Varagos's unimaginable power, Choi's mind becomes still. Long gone are the doubts and frustrations that once held him back, the regret over time he thought wasted on misunderstandings. Now he is fully immersed in clarity, akin to the calm he feels in the heart of this mana-infused storm. Speed becomes his most vital asset. He focuses intently on the flow of energy around him, reading every shift. With his heightened perception, he anticipates each drop of the corrosive rain from Varagos's power and evades them with precision. The art of phantom footwork elevates him beyond ordinary movement. He achieves a rank once thought unreachable, an S-rank technique that enables him to traverse space in an instant, allowing him to move to any location he envisions in the blink of an eye. Varagos is stunned. In all his experience, he has never seen a mortal evade his baptism of blood, a magic spell capable of obliterating legions. To him, martial arts had always seemed like the domain of the weak, an antiquated practice inferior to the vast power wielded by true magicians. But Choi's skill forces him to reconsider, a grudging respect rising within him. Varagos contemplates the differences between their abilities, acknowledging that magic users command limitless energy by tapping into the boundless mana of their surroundings. Martial artists, in contrast, draw strength solely from their own bodies. Yet, as he observes Choi, Varagos realizes that martial arts had originated not as a path of weakness, but as a means to defy the natural order. He recalls an ancient tale he once heard, a legend from the realm of the constellations. Long ago, in a distant land under a powerful constellation's rule, a group of enslaved individuals incited an uprising, challenging the very laws governing their world. The uprising persisted, fueled by a strange new discipline that did not rely on borrowed power. This technique, this act of defiance, was martial arts, a way of drawing strength from within. If Choi had been a mage, Varagos says, he would already have fallen, his body dissolved by the bloody tide of Varagos's baptism of blood. But Choi's will to resist fuels him, and he advances, fist raised in defiance. Choi's punch lands on Varagos with all the force he can muster, yet the impact is disappointingly ineffective. Varagos smiles darkly, almost mocking, and declares that he has been blessed by the powers of blood. His body surges with newfound energy, and he swings his axe onto the earth that reverberates through the battlefield like a shockwave. The air crackles with pressure, and each magical wave brings Varagos closer to his peak. In Choi, he has found an opponent worthy of his fullest power. Choi fought hard against Varagos, using his amazing speed and power from phantom footwork, but Varagos was protected by a powerful magic shield. He knows he must reach a new level of power to have any chance of victory. Drawing upon his inner strength, he begins to channel his energy, gathering it within himself. This concentrated energy, known as fist ki, is the product of intense focus, a manifestation of Choi's martial essence. But fist ki alone is insufficient. Its limitations have long been evident. However, there exists a way to transcend this boundary, a technique so demanding that only one other martial artist, Xiaowan Li, had managed it centuries ago, even if only for a fleeting moment. This legendary technique, the Kiai fortification method, demands an unparalleled reserve of inner strength. It compresses fist ki to a density beyond normal limits, transforming it into a nearly impenetrable force. The sheer power required for this technique makes it almost impractical for most fighters, but Choi has already reached a level far beyond Xiaowan Li's. Summoning every ounce of his energy, he channels it into his fists. Choi gathered all his strength, his body glowing with a fierce energy. With a thunderous step, he launched himself at Varagos, his fist a weapon of pure power. The impact was earth-shattering, and Varagos's magical shield cracked and shattered under the force of Choi's attack. The once seemingly invincible shield of blood magic has finally been destroyed. Likewise, Varagos's master's blessing, the powerful aura that has safeguarded him through countless battles, splinters into fragments. Yet Varagos cannot accept what he sees. Choi, however, knows he is treading dangerous ground. Each of his techniques depletes his inner strength at an unforgiving rate. Yet the battle rages on, with no respite and no forgiveness. A brilliant light, blinding in its purity, fills the vast, dark arena as Choi and Varagos clash. Above, monstrous creatures gather to observe, whispering in awe among themselves. It has been nearly half a year since the conflict began, and still, neither warrior submits. To the audience, Choi's endurance is the stuff of legend. Yet Choi is far from invincible. Gritting his teeth, he channels his inner reserves, pouring his remaining ki into his next attack, a celestial punch imbued with his fist aura. Power surges through him, burning like fire, consuming his energy at an accelerated pace that would drain any ordinary warrior in an instant. In response, he activates the Three Flowers Convergence, a mastery that allows him to draw ki at a rate fast enough to keep pace with his body's demand. Alongside this, his heavenly martial body works in tandem, slowing the consumption, sustaining him even as he feels the limits of his endurance stretched thin. Varagos watches with a darkened gaze, his sneer unmistakable as he senses Choi's efforts. To Varagos, this protracted struggle is nothing more than an inconvenience, a game dragged on too long by a mere mortal. He decides in this moment that the time has come to end this futile exchange. He will crush Choi, erase him entirely, and lay waste to every spark of defiance that dares to rise against him. Varagos calls upon his master's gift, summoning a dark, unholy power that has long lain dormant within him. Flames erupt around him, burning with an intense heat. His strength multiplies infinitely, transforming him into a vessel of pure destruction. His once massive figure shifts, condensing into a compact, swift form that grants him agility, unlike any he has wielded before. Now, with this amplified strength and newfound speed, Varagos moves with an otherworldly swiftness, darting around Choi in blinding arcs, his figure a dark streak against the dim backdrop of the abyss. For Choi, survival becomes an impossible test of endurance. The once impenetrable protection of Choi's body begins to crack under Varagos's relentless onslaught. He feels the familiar weight of Kai depletion, his body teetering on the brink of emptiness. Yet he cannot afford to lose focus, as that would mean death. Knowing that time and energy are slipping away, Choi finds himself faced with a desperate decision. His only choice is to push forward, to sacrifice every last reserve if necessary, to bring this battle to an irrevocable end. From the moment he had entered the abyss, he had never once emptied his inner strength completely. That would be practically suicide for a human here. But with not much choice left, he uses all his remaining inner strength to deliver a punch. Surprisingly, this awakens within himself a new ability, Celestial String, an enhancement that weaves divine energy into his techniques, elevating his combat prowess to unparalleled heights. His divine celestial technique begins to evolve in real time, each strike now pulsing with newfound energy and razor-sharp precision. As Choi's aura expands, Varagos senses a transformation. The thought of this mortal rival ascending, of Choi becoming a new constellation within the abyss, strikes Varagos with a horror he has never known. He cannot allow it. In his master's domain, in this territory he has claimed as his own, the rise of a challenger is an abomination. He watches with mounting fury as Choi's form begins to expand, growing colossal, his presence towering over the abyss like the dawn of some new, unholy god. The restraints that have bound Choi's spirit dissolve, leaving behind only a raw, boundless power. Choi is no longer simply a warrior in the throes of survival. He has become something greater, something transcendent, his inner strength now resonating with the immensity of the cosmos. Within his dantian, a universe of energy pulses, an endless reservoir of power waiting to be unleashed. He has ascended beyond mortal understanding, reaching a rank of strength that defies description. The technique that fortifies his ki achieves an S rank, elevating him to a level of might previously inconceivable. Along with this, he gains an unparalleled ability, subduing the strong and assisting the weak. Choi's celestial fist comes crashing down one final time, obliterating the last vestiges of Varagos's defenses. The Dominator's body, once a vessel of terror, shatters under the impact. The universe, vast and unending, awaits his next command, his next step. Choi stands amidst the aftermath of his battle with Varagos, realizing with a deepening awareness that countless constellations across the universe are watching him. The constellations, each express their interest in their own ways. The cat of lava and magma acknowledges him with a casual wave of its paw. The cardinal of plague and darkness extends an offer of a weapon, a sickle. Pose. Even the bull who stomps at the world bellows its approval. Yet none captures Choi's attention as much as the dominator of blood and war, who looks upon him with anger. The system notifies that he has won the battle and gained power from the universe due to the effects of his self-conquer title. Varagos, despite his own impressive prowess and the bloodshed he conjures, concedes his defeat. With dignity, he acknowledges Choi's potential. He encourages him to grow beyond these small victories, urging him to push his power so far that even the constellations themselves would find it impossible to look down upon him. Varagos speaks with conviction, planting the seed of an idea in Choi's mind, to one day etch his own name among the stars, to become a constellation himself. Choi, stunned by the enormity of such an idea, tries to dismiss it, yet he cannot fully ignore it. For Varagos, a being of vast power, sees something within him, something worthy of such aspirations. As Varagos fades from the scene, promising to meet him again for another contest, Choi feels a stirring within, an unfamiliar pressure building as he contemplates the stares of the watching constellations. He attains a new level of understanding, reaching what he knows to be a zenith, a peak state of being in which he begins to grasp the depth of power that flows from self-mastery. The constellations' gazes bear down upon him, weighty and intense, like 1,000 spears challenging his resolve. Yet Choi feels the temptation they bring. The Cat of Lava and Magma proposes a meeting, and the Cardinal of Plague and Darkness does the same. Yet, for all their invitations, Choi understands that constellations like these rarely move from their thrones. They must be cautious, for in the abyss, competition is fierce. If one constellation loosens its grip over its domain, other ambitious entities would seize it, toppling kingdoms in a single ruthless stroke. Choi begins to understand that the constellations watch him as they would an arena match, their interest akin to spectators of a universal game. They remain distant, yet fully aware, waiting for him to slip, to falter, so they might consume the remnants of his strength for themselves. The dominator of blood and war soon reveals his true intent, placing a bounty on Choi's head. Choi realizes that to them, he is but another pawn, a source of amusement, an asset to be claimed or discarded. Yet this only hardens his determination. Choi faces a relentless barrage of monsters and demons that rise against him, drawn by the bounty and by their own hunger for strength. He has always fought to carve his own path, not to serve the whims of greater beings. He knows that aligning himself with a constellation would only subjugate him, trapping him within their unbreakable bonds. Every moment he's reminded of Varagos's words, urging him to surpass even the highest powers of the abyss, to craft a legend that would echo through eternity. Among the crowd of constellations, each offers him something in exchange for his allegiance. The Cardinal of Plague and Darkness tries to entice him with the ability to unleash plagues, a gift as formidable as it is dangerous. But Choi refuses, aware of the chains hidden within the gift, sparking laughter from the other constellations who mock the Cardinal's desperate offer. The Cardinal, bristling with frustration, seethes at the rejection, a response that only amuses the rest of the constellations further. The Cat of Lava and Magma, undeterred by Choi's dismissal of the plague skill, instead offers him a book, a tome of magic, rich with ancient spells and secret knowledge, the fabled Cat's Book. But Choi, resolute in his path, declines the gift, declaring that he will rely on martial arts alone. The cat, mildly disappointed but not entirely surprised, then tries another approach. It presents him with a piece of adamantium, a rare metal, gleaming with an otherworldly light. The offer is tempting, a material that could bolster his defenses to near invulnerability. This time, Choi accepts, but only on his terms. He will use the metal not as a symbol of submission, but as a tool to forge his own destiny. He is no one's subject, no one's pet project. The cat, seemingly pleased yet subtly exasperated, advises him to consider forming a contract if he wishes for even greater resources. But Choi's voice rings out defiantly, rejecting the notion of submitting himself to any celestial entity. No way in hell is he going to become a lackey after coming such a long way. And for the cat, this hipster remains a hipster. Choi finds himself gazing one last time upon the constellation of the Cat of Lava and Magma. A peculiar sense of finality lingers in the air as he prepares to leave. He wonders where the hell the cat learned words like those. Choi walks back and arrives at the Demon Inn, yet now it is unrecognizable. The inn is in ruins, walls crumbling and shadows thick with desolation. Even the Cat of Lava and Magma seemed to pity him as it watched him from afar. He recalls its words, though few and cryptic, about whether he could ever become a constellation. Yet the thought drifts away. The Cardinal of Plague and Darkness taunted him for being an outsider, a vagrant among the constellations, forever seeking yet rootless in purpose. Amid the wreckage of the inn, he searches for a lost piece of adamantium, a part of his past that perhaps does not hold the meaning it once did. He's indifferent now, ignoring the silent taunts from distant stars and the playful remarks of the constellations watching him. He leaves the inn behind, stepping away from all that has once been familiar. Meanwhile, the angel, Adacaniel, wanders in the abyss. Adacaniel's surroundings are bluish and filled with plateau-like flat surfaces that form the ground here. A two-headed leopard-like creature turns its head on being called as Adacaniel asks if they have seen Choi, showing them a hologram of him, and even telling them that a constellation is looking for him. However, the creature is not cooperative but hostile and attempts to confront the angel. But this is useless because Adacaniel's power is overwhelming, his punch throwing the monster aside effortlessly. The monster is daunted by his might. In a rare moment, the angel's voice, resonant and cold, questions the others surrounding them, if they've seen Choi. Even here, the creature's envy and grudges are apparent, and the two-headed creature who got beaten tries to desperately apologize. With a sigh, the angel leaves and the search for Choi continues. Elsewhere, another watcher takes note of the events unfolding. The observer with 100 faces, a constellation of profound perception, ponders Choi's actions from afar. The Demon King of Lambs, intrigued by the unfolding journey, promises a reward for any news of Choi's movements, adding yet another layer of intrigue to the search. The Master of Twisted Hallucinations scoffs, suspecting some hidden motive behind the goddess's actions. As in the mortal world, constellations have their rivalries and ambitions, each curious as to why this angel has ventured beyond its bounds, what secrets might lie in a mere servant's path. The constellations, bound by their cosmic territories, seldom roam freely, limited by the divine constraints that tether them to specific domains. For one like Adakaniel to wander, to seek across boundaries, is an act rarely seen. And like mortals giving donations to streamers, the constellations too can gift their powers to those who catch their interest. Meanwhile, Choi is still in the Forsaken Land within the Dominator of Blood and War's domain. He raises his fist, striking the empty air while training. Choi had mastered the divine celestial technique. He was no longer human. He was a godlike being. Every move he made was perfect, every strike powerful. He was one with the world, his power flowing through everything around him. Yet he continues using the celestial punch just like when he first started training. With a final punch, a system prompt notifies that he has chosen a life befitting of his status as his existential power increases. When he slayed Varagos and decided to leave the Dominator's domain, he had seen a large change to the unknown skill called resonance from the world. He had reached the peak of his presence, and the world was resonating in response. This is what earned him the title of the undefeated avatar of training, embodying the art of self-perfection, ever pushing the boundaries of his form. But how is he supposed to grow stronger and become a constellation now? As Choi contemplates his path, monsters approach, guardians of this dominion. They mock him, belittling his intrusion as an affront to the Dominator's authority, taunting him with memories of past encounters. Yet within him, the realization dawns that his path to constellationhood lies in honing his essence, deepening his existential power. To exist as a constellation, he must embody the ideals he seeks, his presence growing until it is large enough. He faces the monsters with renewed purpose, dispatching them with grace and precision, even wielding one hand at times as if their attacks are but an afterthought. As years pass, he trains tirelessly in the abyss, a place untouched by the constellation's light. His power grows, not only through his inner strength, but through skills born from his confrontations. He gains new abilities, subdue the strong and assist the weak, and self-conqueror, titles that embody his strength. His power of presence swells, an aura that commands and influences. The skill of self-conqueror resonates, showing others the path of inner mastery, a rule unto itself. If constellations would start following contradictions, where a cardinal of plague and darkness would wield healing magic, and a dominator of blood and war would speak of peace, their power would weaken, and so will celestial standing, for their influence is shaped by the ideals they embody. Choi understands this implicitly. To wield self-conqueror, he must face an opponent stronger than himself, yet he must never falter, for his worth as a self-conqueror lies in his unwavering resolve. Suddenly the ground breaks open, revealing a colossal figure emerging from the darkness. Onyx, the stone serpent. Choi stares, memories stirring of a time when Onyx had been a loyal companion. The serpent's stone-scaled body looms massive and imposing, a being of ancient power that has come seeking him once more. Choi steps forward, arms wide as he welcomes Onyx, his old companion, but his friend's response is cryptic, unsettling. Choi's gaze travels down, taking in the sight of other serpents clustered around Onyx, other stone beasts similar to him, but bearing none of the warmth that Onyx once held. They seem menacing, their eyes gleaming with a cold, unyielding threat. Onyx's silent alarm reaches Choi even without words. The stone serpents have gathered with a purpose, and it is clear they are here not as friends, but as hunters. Choi realizes that he is the prey. Suddenly, Choi felt a terrifying presence rising from the earth. It was a creature so huge and powerful that it made everything else seem small. Choi knew this creature's magic was so strong it filled the air with a chilling energy. He was facing his greatest challenge yet, the Hydra, a gargantuan serpent bearing 9 heads. Choi has attracted the attention of constellations before, beings who watched and judged his every move. Some cheered him on, admiring his unyielding strength, while others sought his downfall, seeing in him a potential rival who, if left unchecked, could disrupt their celestial hierarchy. Among his most relentless adversaries is the Dominator of Blood and War, a being who despises Choi for having vanquished a servant in his own domain, an unforgivable affront in the eyes of a constellation. The Dominator and other powerful beings saw Choi as a threat. They wanted to stop him from becoming too powerful, so Choi went to the Abyss, a place where powerful creatures lived free from the control of the constellations. The Hydra, the ruler of his own domain in the Abyss, was one of the most powerful beings there. It had immense power, but it was wild and uncontrolled. Within Choi, skills ignite in response to the threat. His abilities to subdue the strong and empower the weak surge to life, resonating with the energy of his surroundings. He feels his power growing, drawn to the challenge before him. He recognizes that this fight will test him, push him beyond his limits, but his spirit rises to the challenge. The aura of the undefeated avatar of training surrounds him, solidifying his resolve. Onyx's warning lingers in his mind, cautioning him against the imminent danger. Yet Choi's spirit, shaped by relentless battles and hardened by endless training, drives him forward. The Hydra seethes with rage, perceiving Choi as a defiler of its domain, an interloper who dared to meddle in matters beyond his grasp. Each of its 9 heads is alive with a malice so intense it could bring lesser beings to their knees. Poison drips from its fangs, potent enough to incapacitate even the constellations. Its breath alone is a death sentence, capable of reducing anything to ashes. Yet Choi remains undeterred, standing firm against the Hydra's seething aura.